All right, I think I figured out what this Pikachu is. What you're looking at right now is, and spoiler alert, obviously. I mean, you clicked on this video, sorry. What you're looking at right now is a Pikachu, right? It's got this red tint, and there's this energy flowing through the Pokemon, right? It's kind of silly looking. It's very silly looking, but it's pretty cool. It's interesting. It's compelling. You're like, what the heck is this? From what we know about generation or about the generation 10, yeah, what you're looking at right now is presumably an early build of the generation 10 battle gimmick. And there had been some reports from the Terra League. This is from the Terra League. But there had been some previous interpretations of this, describing this mechanic as being closely aligned with like the weather of wherever you might be having a battle, but we don't really know too much more beyond that, right? And I want to make a read today. I think I'm looking at this Pikachu right here. It's got this red coloration. Like I said, there's like this energy kind of flowing through it. It's a little bit loosey-goosey. Its whole body is being distorted, and it's honestly really cool to see that. Like I would imagine that they would be able to create these like engines, or they would be able to create this effect on every single one of the Pokemon models in the game. Like that's kind of cool. I feel like this is something that like just couldn't exist in a previous generation, which is fun, and it's I don't know, that's fun. It's like impressive almost. It's like it's just nice to see that the gimmick isn't just like a hat, like a Terra hat, right? So I believe that this Gen 10 gimmick is essentially going to be an extension of the idea of nature power. So where an early build describes that it's like based on like the weather, I think it's actually going to be more closely aligned, or this battle gimmick is going to give the Pokemon an advantage depending on the environment that this Pokemon is in. You're traversing this Southeast Asia inspired Pokemon region. It's wild. There's water, there's depths, like there's forest, there's jungles, there's savanna, there's volcanoes, every extreme environment that you can think of, right? That seems to be integral to this new Pokemon experience. And it would make sense. It's really nice. It would make sense if the Pokemon gimmick in this game aligns with this vision of ultimate exploration in extreme environments, right? You basically have to tap into the environment that you're in to harness the power of, like, it's codenamed Majin. I think a lot of people, I guess I like the idea of pulling energy from the surrounding environment. I think that's so cool. And so what we're looking at right here is basically sunny day or fire. We're looking at a fire variant. And I don't mean Pikachu now it gets the fire type. I think that's too much of a retread of Mega Evolution or of Terastallization. Instead, I think different environments are going to give certain power-ups. So this Pikachu that is red, I'm associating that with like sunny day or like a drier environment. Maybe this is the base one, right? If it's just like a nice day out, Pikachu gets a attack boost, and that's what this would be, right? But then different environments will give different stat distributions or different buffs, and and honestly, I would almost prefer it to be more. I would almost prefer it to be the power up to be more dynamic than just a stat boost, right? I'm trying to think of it kind of like in a basic term, but I actually would prefer this to be more dynamic than just a stat change or just a, type change or just a form, I think Z moves and Terastallization, I know people like Terastallization, but Terastallization and Z moves feel a little bit one note. G-Max, Megas, that's more up my alley. And I would hope that this is similar. That actually makes a lot of sense, because sometimes you get weather, but sometimes, like no matter where you are in the game, you're going to get weather, right? It could be a sunny day, it could be raining, but it could also be near a volcano. It could also be near a jungle. So you could have a jungle environment, but it's, yeah, dude, that's actually really cool. It could be a jungle environment, but it's a sunny day, right? So there should be some sort of dynamic change depending on where you are. So the power up constantly changes no matter where you are in the game. That's really exciting to me. So I guess I was reading this red color as heat, because heat does tend to make, I'm not a scientist, heat definitely makes things melt, right? Like things loosen up. I don't know if they're particles or whatever, like, but when things are heated, they get loosey-goosey, right? That's how you go from ice to water. That's why you go from some cold leftovers to, you pop it in the microwave and you get some like ooey gooey cheese, right? So I'm looking at this as like Volcano Pikachu, right? And I'm not saying a fire type. That would be kind of cool. But at least an attack boost or something. Like I think there's gonna be something here. And another, so I guess not a piece of evidence, but something else that I'm thinking about, right, is we've had, we got this move Nature Power, that I'm kind of latching onto, but there's also things like Secret Power. That's a Pokemon move. Secret Power, very cool. Where the Pokemon basically, it's very similar to Nature Power, where it's like you would get a new type of move, like the move would do something different depending on what environment you're in. So I'm imagining this gimmick is an extension of that, right? Also in Southeast Asia, like I already said it. Yeah, you got all these vast biomes and different environments. Like I think this would complement the region and the game itself very nicely. I also think there are moves that you could say terrestrialization is based on, right? There are moves that affect Pokemon moves that affect like a Pokemon's type overall. I mean, again, introduced in Generation 3, Camouflage. That's depending on what environment you were in, that is what would affect a Pokemon. I believe, I can only think of Staryu is a Pokemon that learns Camouflage. But that's like, you could say that is a, maybe the blueprint or the idea for what terrestrialization is based on. Usually with Pokemon gimmicks, and a lot of new things that are added into the series, into the world of Pokemon, usually we've seen versions of this in other pockets or in other mechanics, right? Like there's certain, like we'll get new Pokemon moves every generation that essentially do a different type version of another move that exists, or a new ability is introduced and it basically does a move for free, right? It's like an automatic Pokemon move. Instead of having to know the move and use the move, this new Pokemon with this ability will automatically do it. Or the same thing with an item, right? Like a new Pokemon item is added. Guess what? That is now granting an existing Pokemon ability. Any Pokemon can access that through this new, Pokemon item. So I think when we're thinking about this Pikachu and this Generation 10 gimmick, that's how we got to think about this. I'd be happy with this. I think this is really nice. We could see, I think a Pokemon could get this Pikachu in this, maybe this is Sun form. Maybe this is Sunny Day and Water. We could see that as well. Maybe it gets a fire type from Sunny Day, but it gets, I don't know, defense. Maybe it gets it gets more defenses or special defenses because it's near the water and it's all flowy like this. That's kind of fun because now it's like, no matter where you are, it's not going to get stale. You'll always have a different configuration, and it's not a power button. It's not like a free power, like a win button, like Mega Evolution is in base X and Y, right? Like you do the power up, you win. It's not like that. Like you could press your power up. You could do the Majin, your Gen 10 gimmick, right? You get the power up, but it's actually because of where you are in the game. It's not always a win. Like, you still have to use it strategically, which I think is a lot of fun. Let me know what you think this is. This is not the first time I'm going to cover this. Let me know what you think this is in the comments below. Subscribe, and I love you. Bye-bye.